In our video today, I will be discussing about getting a side job while on a working visa, the requirements where to apply, taxation, and other things you need to know. Hello everyone, this is Liza from Swimmy channel. The pandemic has changed the way we live entirely, including business situations all over the world. In Japan, people have been forced to have fewer working hours, or some even quit their job entirely. I personally know people, both foreigners and locals alike, who have started doing side jobs to make up for the reduced income. For us on a working visa, getting a side job, however, is a different story. In our video today, I will be discussing about getting a side job while on a working visa, the requirements where to apply, taxation, and other things you need to know. So please watch until the end. Yes, it is possible to get a side job or another job apart from the main job of the company sponsoring your working visa. However, there are some requirements and rules you have to follow. There is a chance you may also need to apply for a permission to engage in activities other than those permitted under the status of residence previously granted. Working visa is the general term for the status of residence that allows you to work in Japan. There are 16 types of work visa that limit the types of jobs you can do, as well as visas for high-level professionals, permanent residents, and other statuses. Foreigners working in Japan are required to obtain one of these work visas to be able to legally work in Japan. If you have a working visa, you can and is permitted to have a side job or a second job related to your current working visa category. For example, if you are someone on an engineer or specialist in humanities or international services or Gijutsu Jinbun Chishiki Kokusai Gyoumu visa, and is currently working as an instructor in an Eikaiwa or English conversation school, you can work part-time at another language school or do private lessons at a cafe. You can work on the side without any issues, as the job titles I have mentioned match the qualifications of the work visa you have. The work visa limits the types of job you can take, but it does not limit the number of companies you can belong to or the number of hours you can work. However, if the type of work you do on the side is different from your current visa, you will need to apply for permission to engage in activity other than the permitted under the status of residence previously granted, or Shikakugai Katsudou Kyoka in Japanese. For example, if you are someone working as a cook on a technical or Gino visa, you are not allowed to work as a language instructor outside your main working hours. Even if you are not affiliated with any company or do lessons privately, as long as monetary payment is received, it is considered as an activity outside the scope of your visa. If you received a one-time payment or have been doing voluntary work or non-profit jobs, no special procedures are required. However, if you want to continue working outside your visa category, then you need to apply for the permission to engage in activity other than the permitted under the status of residence previously granted, as I have mentioned. Please take care. If you have started doing side jobs outside your visa category without the permit, you will be detained for illegal employment and could be deported to your home country and further prohibited from entering Japan for 5 years, regardless if it was your first offense or committed unintentionally. Let's take a closer look at the application procedures in obtaining this special permit. It is not difficult to apply for the permission to engage in activity other than the permitted under the status of residence previously granted. This permission is not only for side jobs, but for any activities outside the visa scope. Application is free. You would need 3 things to apply. 1 is the application form, 2, your passport, and 3, residence card. I will be including a link where you can download the application form from the Immigration Bureau below, so please check it out later. In the application form, you would need to fill out your basic information such as your name, address, date of birth, current status of residence, the company you're going to work for, and your duties. This means that the application for permission to engage in activity other than that permitted under the status of residence previously granted can only be made after you have decided on a specific place for work where you want to do the side job. Application from the time of submission takes about 2 weeks or up to 2 months and decided by the Immigration Bureau. Before issuing a permit, each applicant will be subjected to 3 conditions that will primarily check whether the side job would affect the main job or not. These 3 conditions I will be discussing next. 1. Side job must not interfere with the main job. The first condition of the permission is that the side job must not interfere with the main occupation of your working visa. The Immigration Bureau will check if the working hours of the side job would exceed the main job or not. 2. The main job must remain. The second condition is to confirm the continuation of your work visa occupation or your main job. If you quit your main job and the side job somehow becomes your primary, it would be considered as an activity not outside the scope of your visa but illegal employment. The main occupation must always be the one permitted by the work visa, and the second or side job must be the supplementary one. 3. The secondary work is not an unskilled work. The third condition is that the second job is not manual or blue-collar job. Blue-collar jobs include cash registry jobs at the groceries and convenience stores, wait staff at restaurants, and cleaning work. It is not possible to get a working visa with these jobs and must therefore not be a reason to get the permit. From here on, I will be focusing on some of the most commonly asked questions about getting a side job for us foreigners. One question often asked is, can a foreigner with a working visa do side job temporarily after resigning from the company? Foreigners working in Japan on a working visa are required to find new employment within 3 months after resignation. It is considered as having no intention to finding new employment if you remain unemployed for more than the allowed period. So consequently, your working visa will be cancelled. If you find work within the 3 months period, your working visa is valid, and during the 3-month period, there is no problem in having a part-time job as long as it is within the scope of your visa category. Next question is it okay for a foreign student to work part-time? If a foreign student wants to work part-time, they can do so by applying for the permission to engage in activities other than those permitted under the status of residence previously granted. This permit, stamped at the back of the residence card, is usually given to those on a student visas at the time of entering Japan for the first time. In case you did not get this at the point of entry, you can still apply for the permit directly at the Immigration Bureau office. Please take care that foreign students are limited to a maximum of 28 hours per week during regular school days and 40 hours per week during the long holiday breaks. By the way, those with dependent visa can also apply for this permit. And just like those on a student visa, you are only allowed to work for a maximum of 28 hours in a week. Next is it possible for a foreigner to start a business on the side? In order for a foreigner to start a business in Japan, he must have a business manager type of visa. If your main job is running a company and you either have a business manager visa, permanent residency, or spouse of a Japanese national, then it is possible to start a business on the side. However, it will be difficult for foreigners with other visas to start a business on the side. This is because other than the business manager visa, business management is not specified in other work visa categories and would not likely be possible in the future. I would like to stress that it is important to obtain the permission to engage in activities other than those permitted under the status of residence previously granted if you decide to get a side job outside your visa category. Without this permit, your work visa may likely be revoked and, in the worst case scenario, be deported back to your home country and will not be allowed to re-enter Japan for the next 5 years. Losing your main job and visa is not worth the risk, so please be sure to go through the proper procedures before deciding on getting a side job. You need to also check the terms of your employer's contract. Some contracts have a non-competition clause that forbids finding a second employer while under contract. If you have this clause in your contract, this means that you are not allowed to get a side job. If you're not sure, it's best to get a verbal affirmation from your company. If that is not an issue, there are a number of different jobs you can explore. One is freelancing on work from home jobs, and there are several sites on the internet to apply to. Depending on your skills, several types of jobs are available on Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer, Flex Jobs, and English teaching jobs from Skillshare, Flamingo app, and so on. One last note. If you make over 200,000 yen annually, you would need to fill out an additional tax declaration called Final Income Tax Return or Kakuteishin Koku. That adds up additional income from side jobs, medical deductions, and so on. And that's it for our video topic today about getting a side job in Japan. If you have obtained the permission to engage in activities other than those permitted under the status of a residence previously granted, I would love to hear your experiences and where you applied for your side job. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel if you think our videos are helpful as we continue to find more ways for foreigners to live in Japan easily. Until our next video, thank you for watching. Bye bye!